assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen.
Pagheragale, ni hao, chudushume, washmale, ohai, guzaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kare. And thank you very much everybody for tuning into PTV Ball. You watching World This Morning, alongside the very fantastic, the very amazing, the very energetic Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Hello Shiza, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing okay. Energies are a little compromised though because I feel like I didn't sleep enough. Well, thank you for asking. What about you?
Well, I think I feel great as well, and I'm just going to come down to the same point that I'm not wearing a suit. So whenever I'm not wearing a suit, I feel more energetic, and I think I have more space to move around as well. You know, with suits, you just have
You're
to be
so
bossy
uptight
or
and have to
probably,
be
yeah,
formal.
exactly. So I think I feel wonderful. And ladies and gentlemen, this is one thing which I know for sure that, you know, when you dress up and when you look good, you think good about yourself. There are a lot of things which compliment you, you know, towards the end of the day. You know, you feel better about yourself, and I think everybody needs to put in that little effort. But there's this one thing which I would love to make sure that I'm going to share it with all our audiences out there as
Okay,
well.
what's that?
That, you know, for people whom you see on television, if somebody will see me off screen, they'll be like, you know what, he's not at all dressed up or probably dressed to the occasion. Since we actually have to dress up every single day, every morning when we get up, so, you know, we're like, okay, you know, since we are not on television, there's no necessity for us or there's no need for us to get ready. But with women, I think it's different, is it?
Well, I agree with you because of the kind of job that we have. Early morning, we have to get extra ready, not even just ready. So any moment where I don't have to be in my makeup or be in my fancy clothes, I go for it, man, because
Alright.
it's so relaxing, right? So if you see me at my place, like throughout the day, I am just in my PJs, so I think that works for me. But ladies and gentlemen, today we have an exciting, exciting show planned for you guys. We will be sharing what it is about after this very tiny break, so stay tuned. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for everybody who just got tuned into PTV while you watching World This Morning alongside Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Earlier today, ladies and gentlemen, we were in conversation. We were talking about how dressing up and how looking good will actually add to your personality and to your confidence as well. But there was one thing which I wanted to ask Shiza, and I don't know whether this happens in reality or not, but this is something which I'm going to ask. So let's see. So does that ever happen that, you know, that you actually got ready for an occasion and you thought to yourself that, hey, you know what, I look great, so probably I need to save this makeup for tomorrow morning. Did that ever happen to you? Just
Oh,
asking.
and slept in the makeup?
Yeah, yeah,
So it has happened a lot of times with my hair,
Yeah.
but not with my makeup because it doesn't make sense. It's not going to be
Okay.
intact in the morning, and your skin, man, you're going to be having at least 5 pimples in the morning. So anyone who does that, don't do that.
Don't
But
do
with
that.
hair, I've often done that a lot of
Okay.
times, especially when you go and pay a lot of money for a very cute hairstyle. You do want to carry it for at least a day or two.
Exactly, that's wonderful because I think with hair I've done the same as well. When I used to have hair on my head, ladies and gentlemen, every time, you know, I'll go to Lahore or Karachi, you know, I'm like, okay, since I do not have my hairdresser over here, so I probably need to look after them as well. And slept literally in the same pose for like more than 6 or 7 hours as well, where you just cannot go to the left or to the right. But it helps and it works out as well. But now, very
Right.
quickly, coming down to what we're going to talk about. And ladies and gentlemen, this is one thing which actually came across us for the very first time as well. You know, it's not that we've actually talked about it as well. But we might have talked about study groups. We might have talked about how people get together and how they share their resources or books for that matter as well. But there's this study group who are actually coming up with something very innovative, something very different. And before I give it away, in fact, what I wanted to do was that we'll introduce the guest in the first place, and we'll ask her whether what is this study group all about, or, what is happening on the 17th of October over here in Serena Hotels, Islamabad. And I bet it is very interesting. Do you want to shed light on this?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we're going to be asking all the details from the very expert person over here. But when you say study group, the first thing that comes to your mind is okay. So people are going to get together, they're going to learn, there's going to be books, there's going to be, all the, I want to say stuff that not everyone likes.
Yeah.
But with this particular thing, since we read in detail about it, it was so interesting because when you say study and learning, it has nothing to do with books, right? So you can go places and learn. For some people, visuals do the thing, right? Just looking at something, it sticks to your head and you learn and you have a good experience. For some people, hearing does it. So, well, this one is really exciting because they have so many different avenues and we're going to explore them with you right now.
Exactly.
So without further ado,
yeah, without further ado, but very quickly, before we introduce her, ladies and gentlemen, because it was very interesting. While I was preparing for the show last night, I was going through, the email which they have sent us as well. So what they're doing is that on 17th of October, it's open for everybody. Everybody can go to Serena Hotels and be a part of Asian Study Group's event. And what they're doing is that they're actually going to share pictures of Rawalpindi from back in the days as well, 1982. 1983, when we weren't even there, and talk about those places and the history of those places as well. Which is why, in the first place, what I'm going to tell you is that for all of those people who actually know about the Nalla, which is Nalali over there in Rawalpindi, it wasn't really a Nala before. That's what my father tells me, that it was actually a park and they used to play a cricket over there, and that there were swings and that there were tables and it was a picnic spot. And Rawalpindi back then, probably 1960s or 70s, was like Islamabad. That's what my father says, but it can't be true.
Islamabad, but also like it had its own essence.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to the Purana Killa side and it's, I don't know what it's called, Raja Bazaar side.
Yeah, I've been
right.
there.
So the wooden doors and everything, it's so classic to look at it and it's so beautiful. I mean, of course, right now it's really chaotic, but it does take you back in time where you want to think what it looked like, right?
Exactly.
So, well, this is one of the things we are going to be discovering today. And to talk about this, we have someone who happens to be, well, heading the study group, sort of, that we talked about. Go ahead.
And ladies and gentlemen, she's an educationist herself. She's an artist herself. She is Miss Parveen Malik. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Good morning. One is not Miss, it's Mrs.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, because it didn't say Miss or Mrs., so I said Parveen Malik as well. But Mrs. Parveen Malik is in the house over here. Malik Saab, thank you very much. And you've been on the show yourself as well. So, we hope that you're doing wonderfully well and that your Miss actually missed you as well. So that's great. Thank you very much for joining us.
I have to establish my credentials from the word go. So the Asian Study Group basically is used to be a voluntary organization. Started out in 1973. It goes back in time. I think it's about the only institution in Pakistan that has lasted out so long.
Really?
And we established ourselves as a trust in December 2015.
Okay.
And the idea basically is to enable the community, the Islamabad community, foreigners as well as the local community, to learn more about the custom, cultures, arts, crafts, traditions of the Asian region in general and Pakistan in particular.
Wow.
So as a result of which we've sort of developed a lot of subgroups, which
17 subgroups in total, I guess.
17 subgroups, which cover everything: trips, archaeology, arts and crafts, comparative cultures, performing arts, gardening, hikes, history, name it and it's there.
Ms. Parveen, of course, we do want to talk about all these subgroups in detail. But you tell me, when was it that you became a part of this?
Well, I became a part of it in '84, actually.
Wow.
And at that time, I was teaching at the international school, and I'd done a program. It sounds very trite right now, but it was called the Pakistani wedding scene. But it was done in a very unusual way. So we had all these diplomats who'd come to see the program, and they were very patronizing, and they said, well, Parveen, would you join the Asian Study Group? So when I joined it, I realized that, there were only, I think Ishrat Hayat, she was probably the only Pakistani member there, and it was a very small and, sort of private sort of a group. So slowly and steadily over the years, we opened it out, and now we have a very healthy Pakistani community.
Oh, brilliant.
That attends our programs. And, you know, practically every second day there is a program actually. There are trips being organized, there are lectures, there are films being shown, etc. Very quickly, I'll just go through what we have in October just to brief you a little bit.
Do it.
You know, now October 17th on Saturday, we've got our opening event.
Yep.
From March, obviously, because of Corona, we've been shut down. So we decided, let's just go ahead and try and see what we can do.
Okay. Yes.
And we've got Rawalpindi, the Raj Days.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the 18th and 19th century, by the way,
yes.
when the
Yes,
British were there. You said 1983, 84. So
Yeah, because you know, once I was reading about it as well, it started from 1983, the page said, and then it went down to 84, 87,
Yeah,
and
you
then,
said though.
and since there were no pictures attached to it, I was like, okay, you know, I wish, you know, how Pindi was back then as well.
No. Ali Khan actually is an old Pindiite and very passionate Pindiite, and he's written this wonderful book called Rawalpindi, the Raj Years.
Oh, is it the one with the pictorial display? I think we had it in our
Yeah.
bachelor's.
Yes, probably.
To study.
And he has actually collected a lot of archival material, which is anecdotes, stories, photographs, maps. You go back to the British days,
Yep.
and he's compiled this book.
Okay.
And he is doing this presentation especially for the Asian Study Group. So the opening events are always very, very dramatic. You know, we've had all the luminaries that you can think of in Pakistan who have come and given talk, basically.
Yeah.
And then this is not, by the way, in Serena. Let me just clarify.
Sure.
Okay.
It's not in the Shamadan Hall, but it's out in the lawn.
Okay.
It's the business complex lawn,
Yep.
and entry gate 4.
Entry gate 4, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure to be there if you want to learn about Pindi in Serena.
And
this-
6:30. It's at
Yeah.
6:30 in the evening.
All right, and this is just one of the examples of the kind of events or the kind of history that you guys are learning through this.
Right.
I do want to ask what you guys do for archaeology. It has a lot of interest from my side. But also, since you've been a part of this for so many years now, mashallah, mashallah, if I were to ask you, can you put a finger on one of the trips or one of the things that you guys did that is closest to your heart, which one
Oh,
would it
goodness.
be and why?
You know, there are so many trips that we've done all over Pakistan. We've covered all the provinces. I mean, there isn't any area that we've left out,
Really
frankly.
nice. Yes.
And we've also done we work with travel tour operators.
Yeah. Okay.
And we've done China, we've done Vietnam.
Wow.
You know, Asian countries. Basically, our focus is always on the Asian countries,
Okay, got
and
it.
Pakistan in particular.
Exactly.
Because we just feel that Pakistan needs to have a very positive sort of, you know, impact.
And it's wonderful.
On the
And you know, we even needed that. If you go back probably 6-7 years now, I think that was the time when Pakistan was actually going through very testing times as well. And we needed people of such sort where, but I think now, since I'm an avid believer in technology, I believe in technology and I think everybody needs to use it. So there's been different platforms as well. So, you know, talking about study groups, I think bloggers at that time has actually helped Pakistan to come out of that situation.
True.
Don't you think that these study groups really need to moderate themselves into something very modern now, or probably find new means of communicating rather than, you know, because we even have COVID and we have seen online learning systems, learning management systems as well. So are there new things coming up within the study groups, or how do we make these study groups interesting for people like
basically,
us?
I think basically on Zoom, you have a lot of programs now on Zoom.
Right.
And those are, and we are looking into it also. You know, this organization, to be very honest, is run by volunteers.
Yeah.
They're all volunteers. And we have about 30 people on the committee.
Okay.
Okay, each subgroup is headed by a coordinator. They're all professionals in their field, and they're all very hardworking professionals.
Yeah.
So basically, it's been sort of a little, not, I won't say conservative, say old-fashioned in terms of, you know, Zoom. But the other day, we had a big executive meeting, and we thought, you know, now with Corona over there, we need to sort of do something a little more adventurous.
Yeah.
So we are looking into that, and I think you will be seeing, if you become members, of course, and get a newsletter.
Done.
How to become a member, though, for everyone
You
watching?
become a member very simply. If you come to the opening event, you just sort of, on that day there is a special discount.
Oh, wow.
It's very, very nominal. It's pathetically nominal. It's 5,000 rupees per year, and it covers your spouse, if you have a spouse,
Wow.
and children under 18.
Yeah.
If you have a child over 18, he has to register as a member. So 5,000 rupees for all that you get. Listen, I have to tell you what we're doing in
But
October.
what are the benefits we're going to get if we become a member?
You will get the newsletter, which will tell you that you can go on a cycling trip.
Okay.
Okay, you can test out South Asian cuisines. There's a program on South
I like
Asian
that.
cuisine.
Yeah.
There's a literature program called The Marine Betrayal.
Wow.
Which is, then there's a film being shown called The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. Then there is a hike. And this is only in October, starting out from the 20th, okay, because it's a very short month. So we've got 6 programs going for you.
Right.
So practically, and in a normal month, actually, honestly, and I'm not exaggerating, believe you me, I'm not exaggerating, there is at least, 8 to 10 programs per month that we sort of put out.
This is like really interesting. Now, okay, if someone wants to become a member, you mentioned that, but what if...
You have to fill a membership form.
Got it. So what if I'm a foreigner and I'm coming to Pakistan for tourism, of course, because, well, tourism is on the peak. Pakistan is the best place to be. So can we become a temporarily a part of your team and go places with you?
So what happens is that if you're a member, automatically you get the newsletter and it sort of tells you what you're doing. And if you want to come as a guest, then you sort of just pay a little bit extra. For example, if it's 5 rupees that you'd be paying, as a guest you'd pay 7 rupees.
Okay,
wow.
that makes sense.
So
Wonderful.
Yeah.
But I think I have a very different question in my head, and that is that, when members from Asian study group get together, what do they usually talk about? I mean, would you mind sharing a few conversations you've had with your colleagues as well? I just want to think, I want to assume today.
Listen, we have a very disparate group, because there are 17 subgroups.
Exactly.
For example, if you're interested in archaeology, only the people who are genuinely interested in archaeology or who want to learn a little more will come, right?
Right.
So if you're interested in films, a particular crowd will come to see the film. So it's basically, it's not that we all get together, in a jolly
let's
tally
talk
ho
about
type
books
of
today.
thing. When you come on Saturday, you will see the larger crowd, hopefully. We are a little worried because of this corona thing. That's why we decided to have it out in the lawn so that it would be open and people would come.
I think that's a safer option as well.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to take you back to where I asked and you never answered
Please,
me
before you take it back, I have one last question.
go
That
ahead.
is, since I've lived in Karachi myself for 5 years,
Right.
and when I was there, I always looked forward to such groups as well and meeting new people, and that's how you do it. Because you can't go back to university, you're a professional, you're working over there, and you need more people. And I've seen one of my friends actually got married like this as well. So has there been an occasion with an Asian study group where people have actually found their soulmates? Because it's a group which goes back to like 1973.
Right.
So I think there might have been people who've gotten together within this group.
I'm sure there must have, but we are not sort of aware of it.
But it's a great opportunity.
I mean, it's a great place to meet people who are of
similar interests.
Similar interests, So I really don't. We haven't been invited to any weddings. Let me tell you.
Well, that's
but
wonderful.
I'm sure there must be a space for that.
Of course, and it sounds so much fun if it did happen. Now again, ma'am, taking you back to where I asked you didn't mention or answer. One particular favorite event or a walk or anything that you did with this group.
Oh goodness.
And why also?
I mean, how can I sort of break it down? Everything is so interesting and it's been going on since 73, mind you. So there are a million and one things that have happened during that time. But honestly, how can I pinpoint for you?
Okay, but can I just tell you one?
I'll break it down for you. Like the opening event, we had Salima Hashmi who came and gave a talk on the art scene, etc., which was fascinating, absolutely. We had Shima Kirmani, who came and talked about dance.
Oh, wow.
For the opening, I'm just referring to the opening events. And then last year we had Dr. Fawzia Said, who's now the PNC head. She came and talked about folk culture. We've had so many, Dr. Nasreen Askari from Mohata Palace. She talked about it, Noorjahan Bilgrami. Nahi Dasfar talked about Balochistan because she's written a book on Balochistan, jewelry, and the other side of Balochistan. So we've had very many fascinating, and then we have a closing event which marks the end of the year. And those are fun and games, basically. We've had Zoe Vikarji come and perform for us. We've had Humarian come and perform for us. We've had, bands come and perform for us. So it's been
amazing.
So you have an opening event, you have a closing event, and in between, in the months, you have about 10 programs or 12 programs.
This sounds
That's wonderful. And I think that the most apt question to pose to you is, how do you think, since you've been a member of Asian Study Group since 1983, that's what you
84.
said? 84. And it's been more than 84 or 94, 2 decades. More than, it's a long time. How do you think this study group has had an influence on you, and how do you think that it has grown in you, and how do you think that it has inspired you to be where you are today?
You mean personally?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's really helped me grow a lot, you know. I mean, in the sense that Islamabad basically is a very closed society. Probably if I was in Karachi, it's more dynamic.
Yeah.
But then in Karachi, you would not have, you know, you have T2F in Karachi, which sort of does something similar,
Yeah.
but not to the extent that Asian Study Group does. And it's really opened my mind up, you know, I mean, to so many different aspects of what Pakistan has to offer.
Exactly.
You know, people are just amazed. Do you know that when people come from abroad to all the embassies, etc., they are requested to sort of join the Asian Study Group because that is their one window to Pakistan,
Wow.
which is such a big compliment for
It
us.
is.
Actually.
It is an achievement.
It
really.
is truly, it is an
Yeah.
achievement. So in that sense, you know, answering your question, like I'm not a hiker at all.
Okay.
Okay, and I honestly don't go on hikes. But when I read it in the newsletter as to what fascinating stuff they're doing, I get really excited. You know, that maybe I should put on my joggers and go.
Yeah.
Right.
And then our trips, for example, have been like Hunza, etc. And what the trips do is actually they do a little bit extra. You know, if you go to a tour operator, he'll just do tuck, 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 you know, the basic things. But because we are organizing these things, there's our special guide who will go with you, who will sort of
Let
take
us
you
know.
to special places, etc. So that's very unusual also.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in literature, for example, we've had, you know, like this is a gentleman called Charles Barker. He's a hotelier and an author. And he is, you know, I mean, in the normal run of the mill, you would not find people like this
That's
Yeah.
true.
who would sort of come. We have people from abroad writing to us, telling us, please, I am coming in March. Can you please slot in a program for us?
Yeah.
Wow. This is really interesting. And you know, to actually have, like we already talked about this, similar interest, like-minded people, people who have, I mean, who like and admire art and things that you do, I think it's very healthy to be around such people, right? Especially, I think this is, if my mom is watching, I think this is one of the activities you should do, definitely.
Wow.
Certainly, certainly.
And that's wonderful as well. But you know, I think since while you were talking, you know, this is one thing which I was thinking that, you know, your husband has been on the show as well. You know, he was talking about horticulture, and you know how flowers and everything, flora and fauna. You know, he spoke about it. Your two sons are wonderful actors as well, Saqib and Adnan, namely. You know, one of
Saqib is a director. He's
yes,
just
Saqib is a
made
director.
Baji.
Yes, and Saqib Malik. In fact, I've worked with him too as well. I'm
Oh,
very
really?
sorry, but yeah. The one with lesser hair on his head. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, but that's great. So we met on different occasions since I was in Karachi earlier as well. And then, you know, one of your son is an actor as well. He's in front of the screen, fabulous actor. He's got numerous awards to himself as well. You, on the other hand, happen to be an artist yourself. So it's a household. What kind of conversation do you have, you know, when everybody's an artist? Because everybody's in their own mind zone. And they're like, okay, you know, this is what I'm working on. And it's very artistic. So how do you guys
You know,
communicate?
it's quite funny actually, because Saqib and Adnan rarely discuss their work.
Okay.
I mean, as a mother, I have to really prod it out of them. You know, what are you doing now and what are you not doing now? But when they're confident and they've got it under control, then they will discuss it.
Yeah.
So basically, we are a very happy household, you know, because we have so many outlets actually, each one of them. Shaukat is a horticulturist, he is interested in music, you know, he's a doctor himself, so
Yeah.
basically keeps himself very involved. And Saqib also has a lot of interests, you know, as you know. And Adnan is also very, then my daughter, she teaches yoga.
Wow.
And she curates exhibitions. She's in Karachi also.
Wow.
All three of them are in Karachi, by the way.
Yeah.
But they keep on coming, you know, at regular intervals to see how their parents, whether they're alive or not and doing well.
Yeah.
But our conversations are generally, you know, when we're sitting down, obviously we're discussing, you know, what's
Something.
happening in the media.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And politics is basically not touched. It's discussed, but we don't really get
I think that's
actively
great.
involved in it.
Yeah.
Because what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. I was about to compliment that as well. You know, coming from a mother, that we do not discuss that. And this is something which I've always made sure to stand with, even with my parents as well. I'm like, you know, if there's something I'm talking about and I cannot bring about a change, you know, what's the point of me talking about it anyways?
Yeah. Well, we discuss it in the sense that we discuss the pros and cons and what could be and what has not been. And, you know, because Shaukat and I have lived so long, touch wood.
MashaAllah.
So we've seen, you know, various regimes come and various regimes go. And now it all seems so weird, really.
Yeah.
I feel as if I'm sitting on cloud number 9 and watching the world down there. And, you know, it's so cyclic.
Yeah.
You know, things happen and then
Repetitive,
they
right?
change. And really, as the ordinary person, what can you do except live your life as you think best?
Exactly.
And, you know, sort of walk the moral track.
But,
if
but
you
I
That's
want to
beautiful,
add on
actually.
to I want to add on to this as well. And you know, since similarly, my younger brother is one of the most amazing models over here in Pakistan. I'm working for television. One of my sisters is a doctor. So we have different preferences. You know, when we walk into the house, you know, I want probably the wall to be red, or somebody wants it to be just white. I want the pictures to be there of the family. My younger brother does not like them, so he'll take them off. You know, such kind of disagreements. How do you come around that? Because Saqib Bhai, if you talk about him, you know, he's got his own mindset. Adnan, he's got his own mindset. Every child has got their own mindset.
They all live independently. They all have their own
Alhamdulillah.
homes. They all live completely
But
independently.
when they come down to Islamabad
When
to
they
meet
come
their
to
parents,
Islamabad,
I
let me
think
tell
that
you,
should be the vacation.
they've all got their own separate rooms
Okay.
in which they grew up in, frankly. So that's their little enclave. You know, they can do what they like with it.
Wow.
And that's the way it goes. Adnan got me this. He was just shooting in Turkey just now.
Yeah.
And he went to Turkey and he got this clay bird, you know, which is Nazarwali.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And a big blue bird, beautifully glazed, and I didn't know what to do with it, you know. Looked around all over the house thinking, where in the name of heavens am I going to put this bird up? And then I went to his room and I realized that there's a place over there where I could, so I hung it up in his room.
Okay.
So this is the way it goes. Each of them have their own separate room
Mashallah.
and they sort of do what they want.
amazing
This
that
is
is.
brilliant, and you know, it's really actually amazing to hear of the kind of independence that one lets people live with, right? You cannot always impose your ideas on
Right,
people, right?
right.
So this is brilliant. Thank you so much for being here. But towards the end, Ms. Parveen,
Yeah.
you're full of life. MashaAllah, it was so amazing to be in conversation with you.
Thank you.
Your eyes are literally sparkling with, like you
MashaAllah.
said, all of the things that you've seen. It's beautiful, it's beautiful.
MashaAllah.
Thank you.
But I want you to take this moment and speak to the camera because a lot of people are watching you.
Right.
I want you to speak to, I want to say especially Pakistani women, and tell them to actually bring a change in their life for their own better mental health. But let's just say talk to everyone out there.
Right. Well, you know, basically, it's a very patriarchal system, to be very honest, and it's like a battle hitting your head against the wall. And we sort of come from a very privileged background, so we don't really face all the issues and problems that the other sections of society do. So my suggestion is look at life positively, grab whatever opportunity you can get. Don't be frightened by your environment and the things that surround you, and just be strong. Basically, be safe, be strong. That is the only thing that I can say.
Wow,
really.
wonderful that is.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very much, ma'am, for being
Not
with us.
at
It was
all.
lovely to
Pleasure.
be in
Pleasure.
conversation. And I think it was, I don't know when was the last time I actually had such amazing conversation
I know,
with
right?
somebody
It
as
was so
well.
beautiful.
But it was beautiful as well. And for the rest of the family, thank you very much. You've got a fabulous mom. and she always makes sense as well, which is great. So ladies and gentlemen, please be going for a short break. Don't go anywhere, because when we guys come back,
We will have another woman of substance over here in the studio. So to find out more about that, we'll stay tuned. Good morning.
good morning.
Welcome back to Well This Morning, ladies and gentlemen, with Shazad Khan and Shiza Hashmi, where today we are so inspired by whatever is happening around us. Well, today happens to be a good day. It's a good start to the day.
Exactly.
And I hope you guys are feeling the same.
Exactly, and ladies and gentlemen, adding on to the value which Ms. Parveen Malik left for all of us, we obviously have been joined by somebody very amazing over here who's working towards women empowerment. But not just women empowerment, I think that this is something which she's taken as a corporate social responsibility. She, in the first place, made sure that she's going to have her own business. She opened up an eatery. She's a member of the RCCI as well. And now she's actually working towards changing mindsets of how to probably be an entrepreneur, how to get into entrepreneurship, even though that the idea is actually, I mean, when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's something which I've been talking about since 2005. The idea, I think now it needs to change. It needs to come up with a newer name, with newer technologies as well. But yes, still, ladies and gentlemen, because alhamdulillah, we come from very privileged backgrounds, there are people who really need to work on it as well. And we need to come down to a level where they can understand it as well. So this lady, ladies and gentlemen, has taken this responsibility as well. She's over here with us in the studios. She is Miss Noreen Ghaffar. She happens to be a social activist and an entrepreneur. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. So she has her own eatery with the name of Roti Tukka. Names are very interesting these days as well. So let's first of all hear you out. You know, how was your journey of Roti Tukka? How did you come up with this idea? Why in the first place you wanted to do something of your own? Were there any other pressures? You know, let everybody know, and then we'll come down to, you know, how it was done.
Okay.
Or was it a bed of roses?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't. I am a former banker, actually.
Nice.
I was regional head north when I left banking. I had to quit banking because of family issues. Not primarily issue, it was my responsibility as a mother.
Okay.
Because my son, he was suffering because my job demanded a lot of my time, and so did my son.
Okay.
So I decided to quit with a very heavy heart, because since the day I wanted to start my career, I wanted to be the banker and I wanted to be the CEO.
Wow.
That's so brave of you to
I will have
actually
my
take
own
that step.
bank. The wishful thinking is still there.
Wonderful.
Inshallah.
So in that quest, in this Corona period, I have started crowdfunding. So I've got in connection with an NGO where we support small businesses.
Okay.
When I quit banking, the only thing that I could do is I'm a good speaker. So I started my training. Small training on the key skills, which are very important: interpersonal skills, communication skills, how to handle angry customers, patience, leadership, XYZ, a lot of things. I started training, and then I always had the desire to do business.
Yeah.
Because I belong to a family, all my family in business, they're all in business.
And you were a business consultant as well?
Yes, I am still a business consultant. So I was doing consultancy for a lot of people. I used to make brand because I give a strategy, and I've got an innovative think tank available with me.
Nice.
So we join hands and then we make people brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was doing it for the last 4 years, and then some would say she is just doing consultancy. She can't do something of her own. So how can she teach entrepreneurship, and how can she know the challenges and blah blah. Then I met, because of my CSR, I meet a lot of people, a lot of women. I go to the rural areas and
Please.
Yeah, go
I
on.
go to the rural areas and I discuss. I met a girl.
Okay.
She was just 17 years old, and at the age of 17 she was married, child, and then divorced. And then she was struggling.
At the age of 17?
At the
All
age
of this happened?
17, yes. And she seemed to be like 28, 29. She looked so elder than her age.
Okay.
All right.
It made my heart, cry,
bad, of course.
feel very bad. And since then I was thinking, I met her in 2018.
All right.
And since then I was thinking what to do. And the only thing which I could, when I interacted with these ladies, the only thing that women can do very easily at that level is cook.
Yeah.
And they have no issues, if now things have become very easy. We have Facebook, we have social media platforms, and you just post it and then boom.
Yeah.
since then, I decided that I'll have my own platform, and then I started this Roti Tukar, which I denoted as RT.
Yeah.
And I call it RT Lounge. Reason being, we don't only support the cafe business, we also support women-led businesses. We conduct different exhibitions, events, where we teach women how to pitch to the investors, because I have a network, alhamdulillah, because I'm a very, very active member for Rawalpindi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, plus last tenure I was the deputy convener for Women Entrepreneur Standing Committee.
Wonderful.
So we do capacity building, and we do a lot of
go on.
good things related to empowering women economically.
Right, so we'll talk about that. But here's the thing, Noreen. You mentioned that, well, you were getting a lot of backlash or criticism over not starting something of your own. People probably doubted your skills or something. Did that bring you down, or did that motivate you to actually move further? And how did you deal with that?
I'm a self-motivated individual. Yes, at times we all are humans. We do get demotivated, but the fire in you, you know, makes you keep going, because people are always going. People are always going to criticize whatever you do.
That's true.
So I face criticism every single second, might be.
Okay.
Okay. But I am a self-motivator.
I think
you're very, sorry Shahzad, I have to cut you over here. But I actually want to get to the basics of this. So when you say that you want to empower women, especially economically, that's brilliant. We're all for that. But let's talk about the process. So I happen to know a lot of married women especially, and I'm not generalizing, I do actually, who have brilliant ideas, like amazing, amazing skills and ideas, but probably in their lifetime they will never be able to start something of their own for so many different reasons. So how will you, I think the hardest part is to tell someone that you can do it, man. This is your thing, own up to it. How do you do that?
I can't force anybody to do anything.
But you can encourage.
Yes. The only thing is that we invite these women, we talk to them, and we try to, this motivation speaking, that's very popular these days. So these things do help.
Yeah, of course.
And there is a desire, there is, you know, they do have the idea, but they don't know how to make it implementable. So that's an indirect approach to that. We share different role models, and we being into Pakistani economy and a male-dominating society, the fear factor that the men have is the role model that the women chose.
So what fear factor? I don't. Sorry, I didn't get this.
Can you explain? Elaborate that. No, we're not judging.
So you said that that men actually have a fear factor.
Fear factor.
What is that?
Okay.
The fear factor that if the woman of the house becomes economically empowered, she might not take care of the kids. She might not take care of the relationship, whether it be a mother-in-law, husband. Lot of fear factors.
Do you think that them being so worried about this, do you think that there's any reality behind that? Do you think that this does exist?
This does not exist.
Okay, so the woman who actually becomes economically independent are actually going to be this, she's going to share the same relationship with her mother-in-law, same relationship with her husband.
In fact, much better.
Okay.
Reason being, I would add to it. I'll give my example.
Sure.
I've got a very, very, very good relationship with my mother-in-law.
Mashallah.
She treats me like a daughter. She understands whatever I'm doing. It has taken a journey, you know, it's been 11
get to
years.
the point where you are now.
Yeah. When a woman is economically empowered, and, you know, both the partners, if you want to facilitate your relationship, you give gifts. That's sunnat as well. So when you give gift, there is a relationship bonding gets stronger.
It does.
And when a woman is economically empowered,
she
can take care of these relationships through different gifts. And the burden of finances doesn't only fall onto the men.
I'm going to partially agree.
And this is just one small thing that makes sense, and it does. And Noreen, I am going to agree with you.
Do you give gifts?
I love giving gifts.
Why haven't you given me a gift? Oh no, you
Dude,
have.
I was going to correct you.
You have. I'm sorry.
I think giving the gift to some, it's a better feeling than actually receiving it. I don't know if people agree with me or not. I love buying things for
but I have
people.
a very crucial point to make over here.
Okay. Sorry.
You know, for when for example, we're going to rely on gifts to save relationships. Don't you think that the person whoever that is, whoever you enjoy that relationship with, will then start to have expectations that one day, probably in 6 months, you're going to give them a gift. And if you don't, they might not feel great about it.
It does happen most
don't
of the
you think
time.
it's dependent?
No, it's not dependent on that, but I'm just giving out of so many
mother-in-law, I think
examples.
it is dependent.
Out of so
Auntie
many,
ji, if you're out there.
she is watching me.
Yeah. Wonderful. You're a wonderful mother-in-law. आप बहुत अच्छी सास हैं और नौरीन जो है वो बहुत अच्छी बहू है. I think that was supposed to be said out there as well. And you're true, partially, I'm going to agree to it. But since, when we talk about this entire scenario where you said that, gifts can actually save relationships, that's true, and it's a sunnah as well. My friend Jazib Kamar, he's a designer, he believes in it as well, and he keeps on sending me tofas every now and then.
In fact, that thing very much exists in your relationship with your
Yeah,
customers
but let me
well.
complete what I'm trying to say. But since where you said that, a lot of men fear or have this insecurity that, if the woman's going to become economically or financially independent, that there might be some haywire-ness within the relationships, which is correct. But, it goes either way. I mean, there might be a few examples for women who when became financially independent, actually lost all their relationships. And with men, that, when there was women, they thought to themselves, or they were insecure about it, that, things might change. So it's either way. I think that it's not fair to say that it's only men who fear this.
It's both ways,
Yeah,
but majority of the cases,
It's men.
It's men.
True.
Reason being, there are not much women entrepreneurs in the society at the moment. Now we are growing. A lot of women, they are coming into the system, and the relationships are becoming stronger because the interpersonal skills element in women comes up.
Yeah.
So here's my understanding of it. So the fear factor that we're talking about, and from whatever side it's coming, so let's talk about if it's coming from the men.
Yeah.
It is in our particular society, it happens to be, of course, male dominated, it is patriarchal, it is conservative and collectivistic. Now these 4 words are key over here. And the fear factor actually comes because when you think the woman who's been at home for so long, she's going to get the exposure, she's going to learn about her rights, she's going to learn where to say no, and she's going to learn what to take and what not to take.
Yeah.
That is where the fear comes in. And a lot of people, I know, Shazad, you're an educated person, you will not agree with this.
Yeah,
but there are so
it's
many
any
people,
individual's choice.
No, but there are so many people who fear that if their woman has the ability to think properly, well, it's over for them. This is what it means, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Well,
But
and
you
it's
sounded
wonderful. And it's wonderful as well. And I'm glad that you actually spoke about yourself first and the initiatives you took. But I'm going to come back to one point which you made right at the beginning of our conversation. You said so you were a banker and you were heading an entire region as well, which is great, and you wanted to be CEO. You gave up on a dream, and then you made sure that you actually.
I haven't given up on the dream.
No, that's wonderful because you want to
Wow, I
have
like
your
that.
own bank now.
Yeah.
It's a new dream now.
Yeah.
Earlier you wanted to be a
Microfinance I have started.
Wow, wonderful. Microfinance you've started, it's great. Hear me out. Now, the sole purpose you said was to actually look after your son.
Yeah.
But then eventually you got into an initiative of your own, which was Roti Tukkar.
Yeah.
And then corporate sales responsibility, and then women empowerment. Now, do you get enough time for your son now?
Yes.
Wow, how do you manage that?
He is most of the time with me.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, we spend very, very quality time. And thanks to the gadgets that we have,
Yes.
whenever he needs me, he is with me on the video
FaceTime.
call,
Yeah.
Brilliant.
and he interacts.
So now he's actually got his mother as well. His mother
Yeah,
is
we have
independent.
flexible hours. If my son needs me on top priority, all meetings
go.
cancel.
Wow.
Because
That's
I'm my
beautiful.
own boss. I can
Won-
take my decision.
Wonderful,
Right,
and
this is
that's great,
amazing.
and this is what we want for everybody out there as well. But very quickly, one last thing, and then we're going to wrap up the show as well. And that is how many, since you are making sure to give or impart that kind of knowledge which you've learned or acquired yourself, and after long hard work as well, how many lives of women have you changed so far?
Can't count the number, but as far as financing crowdfunding platform is concerned, I have after the post-corona thing, I have established small businesses around 10
Wow, that's
Oh,
wonderful.
in
and this is just
two and
within a few
two and a
months.
half months.
Wow.
And
is
as far
amazing.
as educating them, I do a lot of elements wherever I see there is a hindrance, there is an issue. So I do a lot of Facebook Live, Insta Live, and then I've got a YouTube channel. I inform these ladies regarding handling angry customers, interpersonal skills and how to not just listen onto the words rather than the tone of voice.
Wow,
brilliant.
that's great.
Thank you so much for being here and inspiring us early in the morning, Noreen. This was brilliant. And for all your family members, I think they're really lucky to have you, actually.
Yeah.
You deserve everything good in the world, and inshallah, you'll get to it as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually something, Shahzad, I feel we were talking about yesterday as well. Knowing your worth, knowing your value, and then loving yourself.
Exactly.
Only when you know your value, you will actually attract and get everything good in the world, right?
Exactly.
So, well, this is, I think there's a lot to learn from today's show, like every other show as well. And if you did learn something, do let us know through our Facebook page, which is with the name of.
And before I share the name, ladies and gentlemen, the one last thing which I would love to add over here is that your brain is a magnet. So whatever you're going to think, you're going to attract towards you. So please make sure that you think good so that you attract goodness. Yeah, and the name is World This Morning.
It's on Facebook, yes. On Twitter, you can find us
On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G.
On YouTube?
On YouTube, you look for PTV World, and Alhamdulillah, the most sweet morning show, which is World This Morning.
And then repeat of this show you can catch at
5 past midnight. Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves, and you make sure that you look after everybody around you as well. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.
Stay safe.